have no right to take another person's life like that. And you know, this is a brutal way. This is cold-blooded murder.
A robbery gone wrong. That's how it all started. Lil Rob and Monty had a plan, but what they didn't expect was the tables turning fast. Instead of walking away with a come-up, they ended up losing their lives. Just 18 minutes after their deaths, Lil Jeff posted an Instagram story that had the streets talking. Masked up, vibing like nothing happened. The energy in the video was cold, too cold. Was this just another flex, or was he sending a message? With T-Slick by his side and another person in the back, the details of that night are still unraveling. Let's get into it. The IG story. The internet has been buzzing with speculation and raw reactions after a video surfaced of rapper Lil Jeff, also known as Bloodhound Lil Jeff, and his associate T-Slick, moments after a fatal shooting that left 2 people dead. The video, posted on Lil Jeff's Instagram story, has sparked intense debate, with fans, critics, and onlookers dissecting every frame for clues about what transpired. The footage, which has since gone viral, shows Lil Jeff and T-Slick in a car, seemingly unfazed and even celebratory, just minutes after the violent incident. The video begins with Lil Jeff in the driver's seat of a car, wearing a black jacket and a tactical vest with the phrase "spraying and praying" emblazoned across the front. His demeanor is calm but intense, with an adrenaline-fueled energy that suggests he's just come from a high-stakes situation. T-Slick sits in the passenger seat, wearing a mask that covers most of his face, while another individual in the back seat is noticeably less concealed, his face fully exposed. The trio appears to be vibing to music, with Lil Jeff occasionally rapping along to the beat, seemingly unbothered by the gravity of the situation. What stands out most is the timing of the video. According to reports and timestamps, the footage was recorded just 18 minutes after the shooting that claimed the lives of Lil Rob and Monty. The victims were reportedly shot multiple times, with Lil Rob sustaining a lot of gunshot wounds. The video's proximity to the crime has led many to speculate that Lil Jeff and his crew were directly involved in the killings. Lil Jeff is no stranger to controversy or violence. The Chicago-based rapper has been involved in several high-profile altercations and has built a reputation for being unapologetically confrontational. This incident, however, seems to be the culmination of an ongoing feud. According to sources close to the situation, Lil Rob and Monty had allegedly robbed Lil Jeff prior to the shooting, taking valuable items such as watches and jewelry. This act of disrespect reportedly pushed Lil Jeff to retaliate, leading to the fatal confrontation. The shooting took place in what is described as a trap city area, a term often used to describe neighborhoods heavily involved in street activity. Witnesses reported hearing loud gunfire, with some claiming to have heard the distinct sound of a rifle being fired, which aligns with the severity of the victim's injuries. Despite the chaos, Lil Jeff and his crew managed to escape the scene, only to surface on social media shortly after. The video has sparked a wide range of reactions, from shock and disbelief to dark humor and outright condemnation. Many people have pointed out the brazenness of Lil Jeff's actions, noting that posting a video so soon after a violent crime was a bold and potentially reckless move. One of the most talked about aspects of the video is Lil Jeff's apparent lack of concern. It looks like he is almost euphoric, rapping along to the music and vibing with his crew as if nothing happened. This has led to speculation that the video was a deliberate attempt to send a message to his rivals or the broader community. As one user put it, "This blatant didn't gaff at all, WTF." Lil Jeff's choice of attire has also drawn attention. The tactical vest, with its "spraying and praying" slogan, has been interpreted as a taunt or a declaration of his mindset during the shooting. Some have speculated that the vest may have saved his life, as it could have protected him from return fire. However, others have pointed out that most body armor is only rated for smaller calibers like 5.56 rounds, and given the severity of the shooting, it's unlikely the vest would have made a significant difference. The individual in the back seat, whose face is fully visible, has also been a point of discussion. Many have criticized the lack of caution, noting that this person could easily be identified by law enforcement. Some have speculated that this individual may have been less involved in the shooting, while others believe it's a sign of overconfidence or carelessness. The fact that the video was posted just 18 minutes after the shooting has left many in disbelief. As one user noted, "This popped right on IG, claiming it right after he clapped they LOL. This has led to speculation about Lil Jeff's state of mind, with some suggesting that he was still riding the adrenaline high from the shooting. The incident highlights the growing trend of using social media to document and even glorify street activity. In cities like Chicago, where gang violence is prevalent, social media platforms have become spaces where news spreads quickly, often before traditional media can report on it. As of now, the situation remains fluid. Reports indicate that one of the individuals involved in the shooting has been arrested, while another is still at large. The person in the back seat, whose face was exposed in the video, is believed to be the one who has yet to be apprehended. Law enforcement has not released many details, but it's clear that the video has become a key piece of evidence in the investigation. The Chicago Police Department has faced criticism for its handling of the case, with some suggesting that they are either overwhelmed or indifferent to the violence. As one commenter said, CPD is either overwhelmed or don't give This sentiment reflects a broader frustration with the city's inability to curb gang-related violence. This incident is just one example of the cycle of violence that plagues many urban communities. Retaliation, disrespect, and the need to maintain a certain image often drive these conflicts, with social media amplifying the stakes. For Lil Jeff, the shooting may have been a way to assert his dominance and protect his reputation, but it also underscores the tragic consequences of such action. The killing of Lil Rob and Monti. The streets of Chicago have long been a battleground for cycles of violence, retaliation, and loss. On January 26, 2024, the city was rocked by another senseless act of gun violence that claimed the lives of two teenagers, 16-year-old Robert Boston, known as Lil Rob, and 17-year-old Monterio Williams, also called Monty. The shooting, which occurred in broad daylight in the heart of downtown Chicago, has left the community reeling and reignited conversations about gun violence, youth safety, and the pervasive culture of retaliation that plagues many urban neighborhoods. The tragedy unfolded around 12:25 p.m. near the intersection of Wabash Avenue and Washington Street, a bustling area in Chicago's Loop District. The location is just steps away from Innovations High School, a CPS charter school where both victims were students. The area is typically crowded during lunch hour, filled with tourists, commuters, students, and workers. On this fateful day, however, it became the scene of a brutal and calculated attack. According to Chicago Police Central Control Group Deputy Chief John Hine, 6 students were exiting the school when 2 vehicles, a dark-colored sedan and a sport utility vehicle, pulled up nearby. Several masked individuals emerged from the vehicles and opened fire, targeting Lil Rob and Monty. The shooting occurred near an elevator structure at the Washington Wabash Loop L stop, a busy transit hub. Witnesses reported hearing multiple gunshots, with some describing the sound as resembling firecrackers, suggesting the possible use of a modified firearm, such as a Glock equipped with a switch to enable automatic firing. The victims were struck multiple times, with Lil Rob sustaining gunshot wounds to his chest and Monty being hit in the right hip and chest. Despite immediate efforts by paramedics to save their lives, both teens were pronounced dead at Northwestern Memorial Hospital. A third victim, Berenice Vargas, a bystander, was grazed by a bullet that tore through her jacket sleeve. She described the incident as terrifying, saying, "I was afraid it hit me too by accident." Her close call underscores the indiscriminate nature of the violence, which put countless innocent lives at risk. Robert Boston, known as Lil Rob, and Monterio Williams, called Monty, were more than just statistics in Chicago's grim tally of gun violence. They were young men with dreams, families, and futures that were tragically cut short. Lil Rob, the younger of the two, was described by those who knew him as a cheerful and smiling teenager. Community activist Andrew Holmes, who met with the families of the victims, shared that Lil Rob had a bright personality and was well liked by his peers. His family was devastated by his loss, struggling to come to terms with the senselessness of his death. Monty, on the other hand, was a 17-year-old with aspirations of entering the trades. Unlike many of his peers who aimed for college, Monty had set his sights on becoming a painter, a career that would allow him to work with his hands and build a stable future. His family remembered him as a hard-working and determined young man who was taken too soon. Both teens lived on Chicago's Near West Side, an area known for its struggles with poverty and violence. Their deaths have left a void in their families and communities, with loved ones grappling with the pain of losing children who had their whole lives ahead of them. The shooting sent shockwaves through the city, particularly because of its location in the Loop, a central business district typically considered safer than the city's south and west sides. The brazenness of the attack, carried out in broad daylight in a crowded area, has raised concerns about the escalating boldness of gun violence in Chicago. In the immediate aftermath, the scene was chaotic. Witnesses described seeing the 2 teens lying on the sidewalk, surrounded by friends and bystanders who desperately tried to help. Paramedics performed CPR on both victims, but their injuries were too severe. The area was quickly cordoned off by police, and streets were closed as investigators combed the scene for evidence. Bullet holes riddled the exterior of the L stop elevator shaft, and shattered glass from the Museum of Illusions on East Washington Street served as stark reminders of the violence that had just unfolded. The emotional toll on witnesses was evident, with many expressing disbelief and fear. Mohammed Ashik, a local shopkeeper who has operated his business in the area for 40 years, described diving for cover as bullets flew. "My head went so heavy, I can't even go," he said, visibly shaken by the experience. Chicago police launched an intensive investigation into the shooting, treating it as a high-priority case due to its location and the ages of the victims. Surveillance footage from nearby businesses and CTA cameras captured the moments leading up to and following the shooting. The video showed the 2 vehicles, a dark sedan and an SUV, pulling up near the victims before the shooters emerged and opened fire. After the attack, the suspects fled the scene, with some escaping in their vehicles and others running on foot. Authorities believe the shooting was targeted, possibly linked to an ongoing feud or retaliation. While no motive has been officially confirmed, speculation has arisen about potential connections to prior conflicts in involving the victims. Monti, in particular, had been mentioned in connection with a recent robbery involving rapper Lil Jeff, known for his involvement in street disputes. In a vlog posted just days before the shooting, Monti was seen engaging in a tense FaceTime call with Lil Jeff, during which he taunted the rapper about stolen jewelry. This interaction has led some to speculate that the shooting may have been an act of retaliation. However, police have not confirmed any direct links between the shooting and prior incidents. The shooting has sparked outrage and grief across Chicago, with community leaders, activists, and politicians calling for an end to the cycle of violence. Mayor Brandon Johnson issued a statement expressing his condolences to the families of the victims and the Innovations High School community. Today, outside of Innovations High School, 2 students were tragically shot as classes were starting to dismiss for the weekend, he wrote. I extend my deepest condolences to their families and the Innovations High School community as they grapple with unimaginable pain and trauma caused by this senseless act of violence. Alderman Bill Conway, whose ward includes the site of the shooting, also released a statement emphasizing the need for increased efforts to curb gun violence. We need to do more to make all of Chicago safer, he said. Nothing is more important, and I will do everything in my power to ensure law enforcement has the resources they need to fight and deter crime. Community activist Andrew Holmes, who has been a vocal advocate for victims of gun violence, expressed his frustration and sorrow over the loss of Lil Rob and Monti. You have no right to take another person's life like that, he said. This is a brutal way. This is cold-blooded murder. The killing of Lil Rob and Monti is not an isolated incident, but rather a reflection of the broader crisis of gun violence in Chicago. In 2023, the city recorded over 600 homicides, with many of the victims being young people caught in the crossfire of gang disputes and personal vendettas. The prevalence of illegal firearms, coupled with a culture of retaliation, has created a deadly environment where conflicts are often resolved through violence. The shooting also highlights the impact of social media and street culture on escalating conflicts. In the days leading up to the shooting, Monti's interactions with Lil Jeff on social media and in vlogs suggest that disputes are increasingly playing out in the public eye, with taunts and threats fueling tensions. This digital bravado often spills over into real-world violence, as seen in this tragic case. Suspect arrested. The arrest of Tommy Coleman in connection with the January 2024 murders of 16-year-old Robert Boston, aka Lil Rob, and 17-year-old Monterio Williams has brought a significant development to a case that has haunted Chicago for over a year. Coleman, identified as one of 3 shooters involved in the Brazen Daylight attack, was taken into custody on February 1st, 2025, in the 5700 block of North Mason Avenue. His arrest not only provides a glimpse into the intricate web of street violence and social media activity, but also reignites speculation about the lingering influence of figures like Bloodhound Lil Jeff, whose name has been loosely tied to the case through prior conflicts and rumors. Tommy Coleman, a 22-year-old Chicago resident, has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder, 1 count of attempted first-degree murder, aggravated discharge of a firearm from an occupied vehicle, and possession of a weapon by a felon. He was also cited for failing to register a weapon. According to Cook County prosecutors, Coleman had a history of disputes with Lil Rob and Monti, who were childhood friends. The animosity between the groups reportedly stem from prior altercations and personal grievances, though the exact nature of these disputes remains unclear. Coleman's criminal history includes prior felony convictions, which prohibited him from legally possessing a firearm. Despite this, prosecutors allege that he was heavily involved in the planning and execution of the January 2024 shooting. Coleman's arrest came after a lengthy investigation that relied heavily on surveillance footage, social media activity, and witness testimony. Coleman's arrest was the result of a coordinated effort by Chicago Police Department detectives who pieced together evidence from multiple sources. The investigation began immediately after the shooting, with detectives reviewing surveillance footage from the Washington Wabash CTA station and surrounding businesses. The footage showed a dark blue Infiniti SUV pulling up to the scene, with 3 masked individuals exiting the vehicle and opening fire on Lil Rob and Monti. Key to the investigation was the discovery of an Instagram account linked to one of Coleman's accomplices. Approximately 18 minutes after the shooting, the accomplice posted a video to his Instagram story showing the 3 suspects inside the Infiniti SUV. In the video, the individuals can be heard singing lyrics referencing wearing masks and riding in a stolen car before getting out and shooting at someone. The video, which was later deleted, was preserved by investigators and became a crucial piece of evidence. Detectives also utilized license plate readers and traffic cameras to track the Infiniti SUV's movements after the shooting. The vehicle was traced along the Stevenson Expressway and Deuceable Lakeshore Drive before eventually making its way to South Suburban Dolton and Calumet City. city. The Infiniti had been reported stolen from a parking garage at the University of Chicago 4 days prior to the shooting, and its license plates had been replaced with plates stolen from another vehicle parked at the University of Chicago Medical Center. Witnesses played a pivotal role in identifying Coleman and his accomplices. At least one witness recognized the individuals in the Instagram video and identified Coleman as one of the shooters after seeing him in multiple videos posted on Instagram and YouTube. This testimony, combined with surveillance footage from Innovations High School, helped detectives build a strong case against Coleman. While Tommy Coleman's direct involvement in the shooting has been established, the case has also been linked to the broader street culture and conflicts involving figures like Bloodhound Lil Jeff. Lil Jeff, a rapper known for his confrontational lyrics and involvement in street disputes, was reportedly connected to Monti through prior altercations. In the weeks leading up to the shooting, Monti had been involved in a highly publicized dispute with Lil Jeff over stolen jewelry, which was documented in a vlog posted online. Although Lil Jeff was not directly implicated in the shooting, his name has been frequently mentioned in connection with the case. Some speculate that the shooting may have been an act of retaliation tied to the ongoing feud between Monti and Lil Jeff. However, prosecutors have not confirmed any direct involvement by Lil Jeff in the January 2024 shooting. Lil Jeff himself was killed in a separate incident in June 2024, adding another layer of complexity to the case. The arrest of Tommy Coleman has sparked a wave of speculation and theories about the motives and connections behind the shooting. Some believe that the attack was a calculated act of retaliation, possibly tied to the feud between Monti and Lil Jeff. Others suggest that the shooting may have been part of a broader conflict involving rival factions or gangs. The use of a stolen vehicle and the brazen nature of the attack have led some to speculate that the shooters were attempting to send a message or assert dominance in the area. Another theory revolves around the role of social media in escalating conflicts. The Instagram video posted by one of Coleman's accomplices shortly after the shooting has been cited as evidence of the growing trend of using social media to document and glorify acts of violence. Some believe that the shooters may have been motivated by a desire to gain notoriety or clout within their community. Coleman made his first court appearance on February 2nd, 2025, where prosecutors outlined the evidence against him. In addition to the murder charges, Coleman faces charges related to the use of a stolen vehicle and illegal possession of a firearm. Prosecutors emphasized the premeditated nature of the attack, noting that Coleman and his accomplices had taken steps to conceal their identities and evade detection, including wearing masks and using a stolen vehicle with swapped license plates. The case has drawn significant attention due to its high-profile nature and the involvement of social media in both the crime and the investigation. Coleman's arrest has been hailed as a victory for law enforcement, but it also highlights the challenges of addressing gun violence in Chicago, where disputes often escalate into deadly confrontations. The arrest of Tommy Coleman underscores the pervasive influence of street culture and social media in fueling and documenting acts of violence. The use of Instagram and YouTube to brag about criminal activity has become increasingly common, creating a digital trail that law enforcement can use to identify suspects. However, it also raises questions about the role of social media platforms in perpetuating cycles of violence and retaliation. As the case moves forward, the focus will remain on securing justice for Lil Rob and Monti, whose lives were tragically cut short. The arrest of Coleman is a step toward accountability, but it also serves as a reminder of the urgent need to address the root causes of gun violence in Chicago. For the families of the victims, the arrest brings a measure of closure, but the pain of their loss will linger for years to come. So there you have it. This was all from our side. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoy our content, our newest videos are just a click away.